Now I also can just do this, what I just did, which was depress this spring. This one rocker, these rockers will come right off like this. So my rocker arms are off there now. Now that's still pretty in there. I'm still probably going to go take that out, heat it up, and see if I can move that pin one way or the other, but at least now I can take my valves out. How big is this area here? Glow plug washer. Okay. Valve spring keeper there out. It's a little bit tighter. Keepers have a hard time coming off of that. Okay, there we go. Must have been just enough of a burr there somewhere. And there is a burr on that stem because this isn't just dropping right out either. That's not a good thing. It should just slide very easily. Out of the head. This is a bit troubling here. Looks like whatever it is right at the very top. I can't see anything or feel anything, but if I use some of this 3000 grit paper, oil-soaked paper, maybe I can knock it down enough so it'll come out. The last thing I want to do is damage the guide here. Well, I'm going to take a break here and regroup a little bit. Okay, so I was able to get the exhaust valve out. This is the intake valve. I still don't feel anything on there, but what I had done was I mistakenly said 3000 grit sandpaper, but initially I was using, it's 2000 grit that was heavily oil soaked to try to clean off the top of that valve, because I didn't feel a burr, but it just wasn't willing to just drop down through that guide like it should. So what I did was I turned the camera off and I grabbed another little strip of this 2000 grit sandpaper, and I didn't oil soak. It's a new piece, so that one was probably kind of worn out, and I just kind of, while it was in there, I was just kind of cleaning, trying to do this with it so I could clean whatever the heck was on there that was keeping it from coming out off, and lo and behold, after a little bit of that, it just dropped right out. So there's our head without the valves in there. So I was starting to look at some of these other parts, and I came up with a rather disconcerting finding, and it's that both of these push rods are damaged. Not sure how that could happen, but if you look at this one, watch it roll, you can see there's a kink in there right about there where that one is damaged. Actually, that one, is that the one that looks like it has two? And this one also has a kink. This one is the one that looks like there's a bend here and a bend here. So unfortunately, both of these push rods are damaged. Now that's odd, because Now there's one larger lip on this, on the covers, so they're going to kind of turn a little bit, but they don't look like they're damaged at all. So the covers seem fine, but the push rods are definitely damaged. Now, that immediately made me want to look at the top of this piston to see if there's any damage to the top of the piston, like the valve hit it, because I don't understand what could cause the push rod to get damaged and bent if it wasn't fighting against the valve and the valve hitting the piston. Now, I don't see anything on the top of this piston that indicates that a valve ever contacted it. So, how those push rods got bent like that is beyond me. The unfortunate thing is I've already got a substantial list of things that I need as far as gaskets and that type of thing that I need for this. Adding push rods to that list is probably going to jack the price up considerably, because I have no idea how much these things are, but I'm sure they're not free, and I'm sure they're not cheap, and I'm certainly not going to try and run this engine with what are already damaged parts. There's just no way. With a high performance engine like this, there's no way. I mean, yeah, these are still functional, they could work, but there's just no way in hell I would run this engine with bent, damaged push rods like that. So that's another thing I'm going to have to add to the list of parts to get, and see how expensive this gets and make a determination from there. That's where I'm going to stop for now. I did remove the last two back plate screws, and I wasn't just easily able to just pop this thing off. It doesn't even want to move, so what I'm probably going to go do is go out in the garage and heat this up a little bit and put this in my wood jaws of my workmate and give it a little twist like that to see if I can break loose that mechanical bond, because I don't see any other means to get this thing to come off. There's really nothing to hook on or pull it off, and if it doesn't just want to rotate and come off, that's I'm going to have to do that, and that's going to in turn totally destroy the gasket, because if it's so on there, it's the gasket that's holding it in place, and it's going to destroy the gasket, which isn't a big deal, because I was planning on ordering a gasket kit anyway, but that's what's going to happen. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Once I get that off, then we'll move on to the regulator, timing gear, pulling the cylinder sleeve out, and the piston, and the remaining things. Okay, so that didn't take much at all. I heated it up slightly, put it in the jaws of my workmate, and I just kind of popped it free. So there's our back cover off, and believe it or not, it actually didn't destroy that gasket. So this is the disc valve, I think. This is what actually pumps air into the combustion chamber or the chamber of the carb here. So fuel is pumped in here and it's sucking air in, and from what I read in that article, this is where the fuel is pumped in through here. Air comes in here, they mix, and then they go up to the intake manifold into the head, and then they get combusted there. So this is kind of an interesting thing. I'm not sure if that's how free that rotates or not, but it looks like it does. The crankshaft or the connecting rod, the crankshaft extends beyond the connecting rod there, so it probably engages possibly in this little hole, or maybe it's indifferent as to where it goes. I'm not sure. Slightly off center. So yeah, it looks like I did manage to get it into that hole. So it looks like the crankshaft does go into that hole. That little pin there. Let's put it top dead center here. So that's something that's going to be important to note. You don't want the crankshaft just floating around in this area or this area. It's got to be in this one here. How you're supposed to ensure that, I'm not quite sure at this point. So right there, I thought I had them lined up, but yet now it's closed, so it would appear to be correct now, I guess. I don't know. Let's put it back at top dead center here. Pull this off. Okay, so yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to be that tough to do. I just want to make sure that I document this, at least for my purposes, to make sure that I know how to put this thing back together. Just doesn't seem like it wants to. Because I'm sure that's pretty important. Oh well, anyway. Back plate off. Not sure now because, like I said, Totally Awesome Cleaner is going to totally kill that. Let's see, I don't think I heated this thing up enough that it's going to pull that sleeve out yet. Probably have to go out and heat that up some more. And I probably need to use a piece of wood, my wood popsicle stick instead of this plastic thing. So I'm going to go out. Before I do that, let's see about getting this rubber out of here. Is that rubber? Oof, I feel kind of hard. So anyway, I think I understand now why those push rods look the way they do. It's because there's no damn cam followers in this engine. Whatever moron ran this engine before, obviously has been inside this engine, didn't put cam followers in it. Either lost them, he, she, whatever, lost them, and just decided they'd put the thing together without cam followers. Because I've checked to make sure that they didn't just drop out on me, and there's no cam followers in this engine at all. So now the likelihood of this getting run is starting to get a lot slimmer, because you add push rods and cam followers to the long list of gaskets and stuff required for this engine, and I'm just not sure I'm willing to pay that kind of money just to get this engine running at this point. Let me go see if I can at least get this sleeve out and finish the disassembly of it. And if you detect a little tone of irritation in my voice, you're right, there's some irritation in my voice.